In this lesson, you'll learn how to write a really successful body paragraph. By the end of this lesson, I would actually love for you to have your first body paragraph fully written in your composition notebook. There are 6 parts to your body paragraph: your transition sentence, your topic sentence or your supporting claim, your introduction to evidence, your explanation, and your concluding sentence. Let's break your body paragraph into parts and write each part on its own. We're going to start with your transition and your topic sentence. I'm actually going to ask you to write your topic sentence before you write your transition sentence. That's going to help you to think about what is actually the bridge that you need between those 2 paragraphs. So you're going to find your topic sentence by looking at your organization. It is going to be your first supporting claim or reason. So my topic sentence is that graffiti is valuable for its role in adding to social commentary. So I'm going to pull that guy over. So now I want to think, what is going to actually build a bridge between my introductory paragraph and this topic sentence? How can I introduce this topic sentence in a way that's going to feel really natural to the reader? So here's my transition sentence. Graffiti is known for its artistic quality, yet what has defined this art form throughout its long history is its role in social movements. So I'm going to ask for you right now to go and to write first your topic sentence, and then to see if you can write a transition sentence. One sentence that really bridges the gap between your introductory paragraph and that first body paragraph. See if you can introduce that first body paragraph in a way that really sounds and feels like a natural transition. So after my transition and my topic sentence, I'm going to introduce my evidence, and I'm going to actually cite my evidence. So my introduction to my evidence is where I'm going to introduce the textual evidence. I'm going to introduce the author, the title, and any relevant information. So here's my introduction to evidence. I'm going to highlight this so we can actually see this. So here's my introduction. Liam Miller, he's the author, a philosophy professor at the University of Queensland, describes the role graffiti has had on urban setters like Buenos Aires. So I'm introducing my author. I'm not introducing the title of my article, but I'm introducing a little bit about who my author is, because I felt like that would actually build credibility when you read that evidence. As a reader, you might think he's a little bit more credible of an expert if he's a philosophy professor at the University of Queensland. I also added some relevant information that it describes that in this article he's describing the role graffiti has had on urban centers. And then, because I'm not going to let my quote stand alone, I'm going to say he explains, comma, so that I'm introducing it some. Here's my evidence. Buenos Aires is a fascinating example of a city where the walls talk, telling tales of troubles past. Here, graffiti has been used as a tool of resistance and activism. So I want to show you another example from one of my other body paragraphs of an introduction and evidence, just so you can see different ways that I might introduce my evidence. And remember that if you go back to this Schoology page, there are several different ways that you can introduce your evidence listed. So here, I am choosing to actually introduce the title of the article and the source instead of the author and relevant information. So in the article published in The Guardian, there's my source, right? Titled, here's the title of the article, Is Urban Graffiti a Force of Good or Evil? Here's my author, Atharin Karkat Keys, defines street art as, and here's my quote. So notice that I am embedding my quote or my evidence actually in the introduction to my evidence. She defines it as an opening of a communal space, a commentary, a conversation, a concept captured in an image on a wall. So this first one is actually the introduction to evidence and the evidence that I'm working with in my first body paragraph. But I wanted to show you two different ways that I might introduce my evidence as I'm getting into my evidence. So I'm going to ask for you right now to pause the video and to go write your introduction to evidence and your evidence. Your explanation is probably the most important part of your body paragraph. Your explanation is where you get to really support your argument. Whatever you said was your supporting claim or your topic sentence for this body paragraph. Let's go back and look at this. This topic sentence right here. Your explanation is really where you prove to the reader that that topic sentence, that supporting claim is true. So let's look at what you're going to do in your explanation. When you get to your explanation, you're going to describe the evidence in your own words. You're going to include additional details that help the reader to really understand your evidence and your topic sentence. It's important by the end of your explanation that I should have a strong understanding of both your topic sentence and your evidence. Remember that because we are writing argument, your goal in your explanation here is to not just teach the reader. That's going to be part of it. But you also need to prove and convince the reader that your claim or topic sentence is true. So I'm going to start in my explanation by going back and making sure that I explain my evidence in my own words. So remember that, here I'll get rid of all of this so you can see it. Remember that my evidence is that in Buenos Aires, that the walls talk, telling tales of a troubled past. Here, graffiti has been used as a tool of resistance and activism. So one of the things that I wanted to make sure that I did was that I really explained what the troubled past was and how it's been used as a tool of resistance and activism, because that's going to be really important for my reader to understand. So here's my explanation. Graffiti became an important tool of resistance in the 1970s and 80s when students, writers, journalists, and artists were kidnapped and killed for speaking out against the government. Graffiti became the public voice, allowing people to harshly criticize the government without fear of being targeted. So there is my explanation of my evidence. I've taken two sentences and I've really explained to you what is the troubled past and how is it used as a tool for resistance and activism. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to make sure that I add some additional details that are going to help the reader to understand my topic sentence and that are really, really, really going to prove that my topic sentence is true. So since then, graffiti has continued to be an important tool of activism in Argentina, which is where Buenos Aires is, in Argentina and around the world. What is so important about graffiti or street art is that it allows anyone to become an artist, from the teenage boy to the professionally trained, and start a public conversation. Graffiti has often given a voice to those who may not have access to traditional ways of advocating for social or political change. So my topic sentence is that graffiti is valuable for its role in adding to social commentary. So I need to make sure that it is clear to the reader by the end of my paragraph that graffiti adds to social commentary, that it gives artists a voice to create social change. It's a part of those social movements. So in my explanation, I do that. I explain my evidence in 2 to 3 sentences. I really explain and prove how my topic sentence or my supporting claim is true. By the end of this explanation, hopefully you really have a strong understanding both of my topic sentence and of my evidence. So take a moment, go back to your evidence, see if you can write 4 to 6 sentences. It might seem long, but this section is really so important. Your blue section should be what is doing most of the heavy lifting in your body paragraph. So pause the video now, take several minutes, and go back and write your explanation. Finally, it should feel like a breath of fresh air is your concluding sentence. In your concluding sentence, you're going to wrap up the idea of the paragraph, and you're going to connect back to the central claim. So this is really just kind of like this feeling of like, the paragraph is finished. I'm connecting back to my central claim. It should feel like a smooth ending for the reader. So here's my concluding sentence. When we place value on graffiti, it's important that we recognize the value of graffiti in allowing free speech. So again, I'm coming back to my central claim. Let's take a moment and go back and look at that. So here's my central claim here. Here, I'll pull this over. Here's my central claim. When we actually assess the value of graffiti or street art, we learn that graffiti's impact is overly positive. So in my concluding sentence, I wanted to come back and make sure that I talked about, connected back to the fact that I'm really assessing the value of graffiti and street art. So I'm talking about how that value is really found in how graffiti allows free speech. Okay, go and write your first body paragraph or finish it up with your concluding sentence, and then take the next several minutes, maybe the rest of the period, to write your second body paragraph. Don't write your third body paragraph yet, because your third body paragraph is going to be structured a little bit differently because it's going to have your counterclaim in it. So today, just write your first and your second body paragraph. Get started.